I'm the oldest. So they're going to look at me first. So I carried that pressure. Focus on the now because there's always going to be stuff to do and tomorrow will come with its
That
own
is
problem.
such a good lesson. Yes.
I just wasn't picking the right people to be around.
Yeah.
But that and it condemned me and made me feel like I wasn't doing something right.
Welcome to the Rain From Within show. I'm Shane, your host. Everybody in life has a story. Some are shaped by expectations long before they ever got to choose who they wanted to be. And this show is about sitting down one-on-one with real people, talking about the moments that form identity from the inside out. Today's guest is Victoria Martin. She grew up as the daughter of respected educators, teacher and a principal, carrying quiet pressure to be the good kid and live up to expectations that she did not choose. From the outside, she was doing everything right, but internally, she wrestled with self-doubt, depression, and the feeling that she was still falling short. And as a teenager, she experienced bullying and identity confusion, causing her to drift from her faith and questioning who she really was versus who the world expected her to be. And for years, she believed that she had her path figured out until she realized it was okay to pivot and explore and grow. This conversation, we're going to talk about pressure, perfectionism, faith, fitness as a coping tool, and what it looks like to rebuild confidence and discipline without losing yourself in expectations. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and above all else, enjoy the show.
When I got to high school, I went to school with my dad. My dad was my principal. So him being in the building, it was one thing with my mom, because my mom was a teacher in the elementary school I went to. She was right across the street from the middle school. Then I had moved middle schools to be closer to my dad. It was the moment I went into high school, people didn't know me as Victoria. They knew me as, oh, she's a principal's kid. So that was the minute I started like, oh, I don't have my own sense of identity in a sense, because people didn't refer to me as Victoria. It was just, oh, that's the principal's daughter. It's the principal's daughter. So yeah.
The principal's daughter. Holy crap. I thought I had it bad. My mom was a second grade teacher, and she didn't come into the school district until I was past elementary school. So I dodged that. But thankfully, of course, she was a super good teacher. And I'm sure your dad was a super great principal and your mom, great teacher as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They're very well respected. My mom, she's been teaching. She's almost going to be retired. She's been teaching for so long, and she has her own tutoring business now, because she just has a love for the kids and a love for just filling in the gaps of where they can't be. But yeah, it was definitely a lot of pressure, because the higher you go in education, it definitely can get political. So instead of it just being, oh, they're just educators, my parents deal with the Board of Education, and that is very political, whether people see that or not. So I have the pressure of making sure I keep their image looking good. And I was so focused on that, I didn't focus enough on, okay, well, who is Victoria? What am I about? What I want to do? I wanted to make sure not only that I was pleasing to the people in their eyes, but making sure I was pleasing my parents, with good grades and making sure I was a good kid. Of course, every teenager has their problems, attitude, whatever, especially at that time when we hit 16. But I wanted to make sure that when people looked at our family, I'm the oldest. So they're going to look at me first. So I carried that pressure, probably a little too much, because my sister didn't even experience any of this. She was like having the best high school experience. But I wanted to make sure that when people saw our family, they saw how hard my parents worked, not only within the county, but within the household too. So I carried that very seriously, neglected myself in that process, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense, yeah. And I feel you on being the oldest. I'm the oldest of a couple younger sisters, and yeah, they don't experience some of the stuff that we did, and our parents are doing the best job they can the first time around. So obviously we're gonna have a very different experience than our younger siblings. But can you go a little bit more in depth on, you mentioned like being a good kid, like what does that mean to you besides getting just good grades?
Ooh, okay. Trying to be a good kid in my eyes was the only thing I struggled with was my mouth. I used to have a really bad attitude, and I still, flip in here and there when it comes down to like talking. But I'm very blunt and direct. So when it came down to trying to be a good kid, knowing, okay, when can I speak, when can I not, it was a mind game to me. So on the outside looking in, you wouldn't be able to tell that I might have attitude issues or I might have been arguing with one of my parents. Because on the outside, I was the teacher's pet. I was always the good kid who was able to run around the school and run errands because my grades were good. I was always in some type of extracurricular activity. I was playing golf. I was doing dance. I was doing color guard. I was doing winter guard. I was in all the honors clubs you can think of. I ran for class president, or I'm not class president, vice president. Okay. So I wanted to keep the image. But at home, the rules, I remember it was make sure the chores were done, make sure your grades are good, and make sure your behavior is good. I always struggled with that behavior one. But the other two, I was able to fulfill. So kind of had that 80-20. I tried to make sure, honestly, my dad was, because he was stepping up in the community, I made sure, I was like, okay, let me just make sure I'm setting the image for what I thought as a good child, which was you don't have any issues. You do everything that you can think of that your child is supposed to do, plus more. Like, I am a people pleaser at heart, and I'm working to just focus on pleasing myself. That's still something I work on to this day. And out of people pleasing, I achieved a lot now. I did achieve a lot because I was trying to please my parents and please people who looked at my parents. So I went ahead and I was like, okay, we had a system called dual enrollment, and some, I'm not sure if all counties do this or all schools do this, but when they offer college classes. Yep. So I took the college classes. I graduated high school with my associate's degree. That all came out of the mindset of, I need to make sure I'm this perfect child. Because I knew I was lacking in one area, which was my behavior. I said, well, let me just overachieve in this area because I'm good at this. And I thrive in school. I thrive in the classroom environment. So I was like, okay, I can do this. And I got through it, and boy, that was hard because I did not have a summer for real. I was always taking summer classes instead of going on, friend vacations. I stayed home each summer and dedicated hours on end trying to just get through, because this is possible, but not many choose to do that. Yeah. And within my school, I was the only one to do that year. I don't know if that was the first time, but it's a rare occasion when people do that, when they choose to graduate early. So I was able to go to college already in a junior position. So I was the youngest in my class all the time. But I wanted to leave that representation to make sure that not only I did my part, my parents did a great job with me, my sister has a good role model to be able to look up to. Because there's been times my attitude going back and forth with my mom, because I'm just like my mom, they say you go back and forth with the parent you're most like. Yep. Yeah, I would make sure I was able to at least give her something to look at. I was like, okay, attitude, probably don't do that. But other than this, let's focus on this. Let's focus on the good things I've done so you can have at least something you can look up to,
Yeah, I love that. So the attitude problem was the compensation of your work ethic being so strong. Wow. Do you have any regrets do you feel like you missed out at all in your childhood because you were so focused on the studies?
I do, and I still struggle with trying to be in the present. I try, because I'm always thinking futuristically, and even back then I was aiming towards a goal that to this day I'm kind of shifting out of. Ever since I was 12, I wanted to be a lawyer, and I think I mentioned this in the paper, but I'm slowly starting to shift my mindset into something different, and the business aspect, which I can still come to the path of law school if I want to come back to that. But if I can go back and change anything, I would tell myself to focus on the now and not focus so much on the future, because tomorrow's going to come. There's always stuff to do, and recently I had to tell myself this morning, there's always going to be stuff to do. And I still struggle with this, because even last week I was telling you guys in the group, I wanted to make sure that I give myself enough rest. My sleep schedule is terrible because of how hard and how much I overdid it in high school. I was always on energy drinks, trying to stay up to fill up the to-do list of things that I need to do, but the list always kept going. And it's not so now I'm like, there's always going to be stuff that needs to be done. Yeah. You can just do a good bit, do it well, do it efficiently, do it with all the effort you have, and then just go on to the next day. So I would just tell myself to just focus on the present, focus on the now, because there's always going to be stuff to do, and tomorrow will come with its
That
own
is
problem.
such a good lesson. Yes. And we're going to get into your path moving forward now in a little bit here. But yes, that is so similar to the mindset of an entrepreneur, of course, because I know for a fact when I'm working in the day, maybe the routine starts at 7 a.m. I could fit in as much work as I want to until I got to go to bed at like 9 or 10. And even at 8 or 9, we want to keep working. We're overachievers, right? That's what I see you as. You see, oh, like you get all these tasks done, and then, oh, I could also do this, I could do that. You got to have room for tomorrow, and obviously there's always something that we can do. And sometimes you got to have that reset button and or that time to sharpen the sword. And that's something that I'm trying to really implement right now. At the end of the day, around like 6 o'clock, just turn it off. It's so hard to turn it off when there's people like us that, I think a lot of people watching this too, you feel like, oh, I'm behind and or there's more to do, and I can't let people down that look up to me, and or, you know, my parents, your sister, people that might have doubted you. I want to go back to school for a sec, and I want to talk about your faith journey. So you mentioned that you were bullied a little bit for your faith. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you walk me through that season, and what was that like?
Absolutely. You know, I really don't talk about it much because a lot of stuff I try to just forget about, but I recently came across a memory, and I remember, you know, I questioned like why, because I grew up in the church. I was like, why did I like lose that faith, or why did I lose that fire I used to have when I was little? And slowly in middle school, it was whenever I moved from one middle school to the next middle school, and this is when people were first realizing who I was. Now, keep in mind, people didn't know that I even existed. Like I went to the school for maybe like 6 months until people really was like, "Oh, you're new." Because I'm a talker at heart, but when I don't know people, I'm quiet. I'm very observant. I want to see who are my people. So when I finally started opening up and people started realizing, like, oh, this is the principal's kid. I've been in the class for 6 months, and then they start to get to know me, and they hear how I'm talking, hear how I'm walking, and they immediately started was like, oh, you just a little Christian girl. Oh, you probably don't do this because you that. I'm like, huh? I'm like, I like basically asking or saying or initiating that I can't relate because I'm so different. And I never understood that. I'm like, hold on, we're the same age, same struggles. We just handle certain things different. And that started in middle school. When that continued on into high school, and I already had oh, she's the principal's kid, she's this goody two shoes kid, or she's stuck up. People thought I was stuck up. People thought I was this goody little two shoes girl. Thought I was this saint. And I'm like, y'all don't know me for real for you to be judging me like that. So it caused me to, in a sense, turn away because I felt like it was a bad thing. I'm like, so is me having a love for Jesus such a bad thing? Like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. And I also had a deep wanting to fit in because I wasn't the oddball out, but I always had my fair share of dramas. Girls, I don't know what's up with girls in that drama, but I always was in it, and I never was the start of it. But I was like, oh, these might be my people in mess. And I'm like, oh, these might be my people in mess. And every time I implemented something in the conversation based down to faith or good morals, I was a bad person. So now I know I wasn't picking the right people. But in that moment, it made me feel like I was the bad person, or I didn't do something right, or I was leading them astray in some way, or shape, or form. And
wow.
Now, I just wasn't picking the right people to be around.
Yeah.
But it condemned me and made me feel like I wasn't doing something right. So I said, well, you know what? I'm done. So I walked away from it. I came back to the faith when I was about 16. And I had my own levels of, depression and anxiety and my own, I guess, things I was trying to figure out as a person. And I remember breaking. I was like crying for hours. I was in my car because around high school, I was always in my car. I just wanted to drive. When you 16, you get your license, you want to drive all the time. Now I can't stand it. Somebody come pick me up. But back then, I wanted to drive all the time. And I was sitting in my car, driving around. It was probably some high school mess that was going on with one of the teams I was in. And I was like, Lord, I went to church growing up. I believe you're real, but you got to make your presence known to me. I need you to make your presence known to me because I'm going through a rough patch and I need someone to fill this void. And I grew up knowing, just call on him when you're in desperate times. And I know that when you go through trials and tribulations, some of the things that you're going through, he's allowing for you to call on him, just for you to call on him. So I was like, Lord, please make your presence known. Like, I just need to feel you. I need to feel your presence. And I felt a warm hug. And I tell people this all the time, and I'm like, some of you may believe it, some of you don't. That was real to me. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, I was like, okay, he made his presence known to me. I know you're real. I just got to start walking by faith and not by sight. Ooh. So it took a long time coming. It really did. And I don't think I even got as strong as I am spiritually now. That didn't even happen until probably a year and a half ago. So, but I knew that I was going to walk down that path when I was 16. I knew I was going to get myself right. But, with high school, trying to fit in college, also, I struggled with some of the same things. I was kind of doing the same patterns of feeling condemned just because I was that person who was, oh, let's do this together. Let's go to church together, or like giving the good advice, still picking not the right people to be friends with. But when I want to say it was about like my last year in 2024 when I was like, okay. I was like, Lord, mm-hmm. I'm ready. I don't know what you're finna do for me, but I'm gonna be obedient. I'm definitely gonna be obedient. So yeah, it was a long time coming, but it took some time and it took some perseverance, and it took being okay with being set apart. Because at one point I was not okay with it. I wanted to fit in, but you have to learn to accept it, because not everybody's gonna believe what you believe. Not everybody's gonna see things the way you see it. No matter if that's a faith level to it or just in reality, you all go through different things, different struggles, different paths. And having to learn that you're never truly going to be understood is probably the biggest thing that I had to hold on to when it came down to walking this path. Mm. Yeah.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack here. What would you attribute your strong foundation of faith to? Who in your life set the example?
Ooh. Now, my mom and I, we've had a lot of back and forth, but I have to say it was my mom. Because she taught me when I was really little, when we were constantly going to church, and even when we took a break trying to find a new church home, she taught me how to speak life over myself with affirmations, with verses, the famous verse of Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Every time I came to a roadblock, or I was like, I can't do this, she said, don't you say that. She said, because she has it on the wall in the house. She's like, what does that say right there? Made me repeat it. Mm-hmm. It was small moments like that. I basically kind of taught myself how to read the Bible, because at the time I don't want to say we all kind of drifted, but when life gets rough and you're not consistent in your faith, it's easy to drift away due to certain situations and circumstances. But
yep.
I remember when I was young, my mom has achieved a lot. Within her time. And I remember it was one morning when she was in her doctorate's degree program. And she was up early getting schoolwork done before work, before she would take us to school. And she had this notebook and her Bible and like another notebook just laid out. And I just read it. I had no business reading it. But I read her struggles that she was going through in her workplace. I read the things that she was struggling with when it came down even to the schoolwork she was doing. Mm-hmm. And if I did not take the time to read that, I would have never known my mom was going like mentally struggling with certain things or trying to like overcome certain challenges in her life. But seeing how strong she stood and seeing how she went to God at her like when she was still being in her moment of being low, it inspired me to go back to my Bible or back to the Lord whenever I was at my lowest of moments, because my dad, he is a man who walks it. My mom, she has her moments, everyone's not perfect, but my mom, she definitely is more about don't talk about it, be about it. So whenever I watched her go from, having her own moment, her own one-on-one time in prayer, and reading the result of that and seeing her live that out, I was just in awe. Like, it was just one of those like wow moments, because I never would have known. Like, growing up, I thought my mom was Superwoman. So she was the strongest woman I've ever known. I used to admire her so much. I used to practice walking with her in the halls, walking just like her. So to be so serious, and I did walk like her because I used to practice so much. But seeing how she endured so much and seeing how she just overcame quietly, and she she wanted to say, I know she wanted to say her 2 cents back to whoever was trying to, either come against her or to try her or to ruffle her feathers. But she chose to stand back and to just retreat in her secret place in her time with the Lord. And it inspired me, and I would never forget that, because I think I was in 5th grade. It was an early morning, but I have that memory every time I'm going through my own battles, because I'm like, okay, now I have a good example of what I need to do. I just need to make sure I'm practicing that for myself, because she is a great example of how the Lord has blessed her in her life and how much stuff that she has overcome.
Wow. Okay. I totally agree with you. Sometimes all it takes is one person to set that example. And we talk about it in the book, Scars to Strength, on chapter 3. For me, that was my trainer. And very similar to you with your mom, they talk about this in Proverbs. People that are very wise, because we should always seek wisdom, right?
Yes.
With wisdom comes quiet confidence. And I think your mom really possessed that, and so did my trainer. I never would have known that he was so big into his faith until I talk about it in the book. We were hitting a really hard workout, and I kept saying God's name in vain. And I didn't think about it. Growing up, my parents, they wanted me to go to Catholic church, so I got communion, confirmation, all the good stuff, but I didn't fall fully into, alignment like you did at an early age, because I don't know, I didn't have that example. But once I got to 16 and I started in that workout, I kept saying God's name in vain. He called me out. He said, if you see that one more time, we're done training for good. And that was the first time I saw conviction walked in real life. And it became real to me. Wow, this person has standards and values they won't compromise. They won't tolerate. I think a lot of us, we compromise what we allow in our sight and what comes out of our mouth and who we hang out with. You didn't have anybody around you in alignment with faith besides your mom, of course, when you were in school. That's why you said you were bullied. I just think that's amazing that you found your faith journey so early. Obviously, we're not perfect, like you said. A lot of people, they come in and out of their journey with faith, and that warm hug moment, that's awesome. I totally believe that happened for you, and I'm really glad it did. And yeah, wow, really cool with the role model comparison there of the similarity. Sometimes all you need is one person. So and that was both around age 16, you said that was when you were figuring out kind of like who you were versus who the world wanted you to be. And you thought you were going to be a lawyer. So I want to dive into that, and then we're going to get into, first off, how old are you? Are you 22? Okay. So you've recently realized you don't want to be a lawyer. You're kind of pivoting. So what's your plan right now?
Right now, okay, so I'm currently working the current job I have, and when I tell people this and they look at me, they're like, you do what? So to explain, I work on a local farm as the farming help, and then I also do event planning out there. With that, I recently also have learned to do tax preparation, so I'm a tax strategist also. So I can work from home, work in my office whenever I choose to. So if anybody needs their taxes done, you know somebody. But as of now, I'm just building up ideas because I've always had a love for business. Now, originally when I was still enrolled in my undergrad school, I had a minor in business. I switched it though because the professor failed everybody in their microeconomics class except for one person with a 70. So I said I'm gonna revisit that when I want to go to get my master's.
What the heck?
Yeah, that was a mess. And he was the head of the board, so I was not going to answer him. But I told myself, if I still want to go down the business route, I'll go get my master's in it. Somewhere down the line, and mind you, I got my associate's degree done in criminal justice. I got my bachelor's degree in criminal justice with a double minor of political science and forensic science. So I was working towards going to law school. And I said, well, if I just graduate early, I can skip the master's program and then just go straight to my Juris Doctorate. Not understanding why they have it set up for you to get your master's and then your Juris Doctorate, because that is a level of maturity that I'm still not fully at, and a level of knowledge that I'm still lacking and that I can definitely acknowledge. So all of last year, it was a gap year for me to study for the LSAT. I took it 3 times. Still did not get the score that I wanted, which is fine and okay because I have to remind myself people study years for this test. And I only studied like maybe a year and a half, and I expected to get this grand score that I wanted. I'm like, it could have been realistic, but I also know that I was still mentally tired from the overachieving I had been doing in high school and in college to graduate early because I graduated with my bachelor's degree at the age of 20. So I still was like on the roll, just going. I got to burnout. And I picked back up studying, but I didn't have that same fire behind me that I had previously. So I was studying for about a year. I took the test twice, still not the score I wanted it to be, and I had to make some hard decisions. It was around June. I took the test April and I took the test November. Around June, I kind of felt, I said, I don't know if this is where I want to go right now. I don't know if this is where the Lord's taking me. I don't know if this is where I need to be right now. But I didn't want to give up on a dream I've had since I was 12. So a part of me feels like I was being stubborn. A part of me feels like I was just not wanting to let that reality go because I've envisioned it for so long.
Right.
But I had to, like, it was around December, like a month or two ago. And I had to sit down and talk with myself, like, do you even really want to do this? Like, does a law school sound as good as it used to sound in your ears? And it doesn't. Like, right now, it sounds like torture because I'm just not mentally ready for that, number one. And number two, there's other passions I want to be able to conquer. So right now, I'm working on slowly creating my own business. I'm not sure. There's so many things I want within it. I want to offer personal training services. I want to make my own planners because I have like 3 planners I live out of. And just being able to encourage, because the whole franchise of Vicky's Garden, my TikTok and Instagram page, and even YouTube, is about bettering yourself and how you can do that, and with faith included, because I feel for me, that's the root of everything for me, but how we can all better ourselves in the simple things, how we eat, even how you dress, like certain things, to just being able to grow yourself up to who you've always envisioned yourself to be, because there's always a version of yourself that you want to get to. The little steps of how to get to that, a lot of people miss. And so I know, and because I have such a good support system, that I have the resources to be able to provide that for other people also. It's just figuring out, okay, well, what little things do I want to put to make Vicky's Garden so unique? So right now, I'm kind of just doing that, working on behind the scenes, I'm in the planning stages of all of that, honestly, while I'm still working the other 2 jobs. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at, just kind of get that entrepreneur mindset. My boss, who I work for at the tax office, she's a business owner, and she has everything that you can think of when it comes down to the business world. So I'm just listening and taking in mentorship from her when it comes down to that. So yeah, just in a planning position, but it's a readjustment, and it took a month for me to like really just become comfortable with that. But I do want to pursue an MBA at some point before taking that step to law school, because if I go down the law path still, because that option is still open, it's probably going to be corporate law. Just because I have a love for financial literacy, I have a want for financial freedom, because I don't want me or my family to be bound by the numbers on the screen that you have to pay, so
Yeah, that'd be like Harvey Specter, right? Dude, hey, I was just thinking about my content strategy as well, and also the brands, because there's different levels to business, and I think business owners and or entrepreneurs, content creators, and maybe even yourself can take some of this with some value. But for me, I think about strength and how it needs to start. First is the baseline of bare minimum, the fulfillment. It's got to be locked in. The product that we offer has to be solid, bare minimum. That's the most important thing. If you don't offer something that you are extremely confident in, what's the point? And sometimes it takes time to figure out what your product is. Not everybody has one. Not everybody knows what they want to sell and or provide. But it's one of those things sometimes I think a lot of content creators have to do, is they have to throw stuff at a wall and see what sticks first, see what you really enjoy doing. So the fulfillment's first, right? Great products, are they getting shipped out? That's baseline. Then there's marketing, right? There's ads and or how are people going to find out about your thing? You got to generate money. 2, be able to sustain and be a thing. Then you get into, okay, for me, example, I'm trying to get the strength content figured out first. We're trying to make sure the first, I'd say, yeah, we need to have content scheduled out of this podcast and the strength page before I look at my personal stuff.
Right.
Strength needs to be posting at least 6 times a week. Same with the Rain from Within show. We're getting short form content going next, which we'll be able to tag y'all in, which will be sweet. Hopefully people get to find your story. And then I'll get into myself in posting stuff as well. But I watched a video recently. It's an interesting concept. When you're moving in silence and you're also building a personal brand, it's really important. It's not a matter of addition. What do I need to add? It's actually a subtraction of what do I not feature about myself? What do I not tell others about my story, and or not to gatekeep necessarily, but so your presence and what you say has gravitas where they know you for a specific thing. But at the same time, there's also that shift that mentions you are your niche. You should just post whatever you do. But if it's scattered and people don't know kind of what you're really about, for you, for an example, Victoria, I see you very strong in your foundation of faith and fitness. And that's a super strong baseline. I want to talk about your fitness journey for a sec, actually. When did you really get serious about lifting?
When I was 16.
When you were 16?
Going through all of that, it was a mental battle, and I needed an outlet desperately. I was like, I just need to do something. I need to get out the house. I just need to do something other. If I did anything else, it was going to be at school. I'm like, I don't want to see people that I already know. I was like, let me just try the gym. So my parents, because they're educators, they get free memberships at certain gyms. And I was just going underneath my mom because she wasn't going. So I was like, okay, let me just go. And it started with just like once a week or twice a week. It started really small. But then it also came from a root from, I was not confident in my own skin. I was made fun of for a lot of different reasons. But I remember, boys, y'all can sometimes be mean when y'all are young. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
And so boys would like pick on me and like make fun of me because I guess I didn't look the way that a girl's supposed to look. I don't know. I wasn't fully developed or whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, well, let me just go to the gym. Because I know at that time, what was the trend? The whole BBL, that was becoming a trend. I said, I'm not doing that. What I got going on?
You gotta earn it.
Yeah, I was like, I would rather work for it and earn it instead of just pay somebody to do that, because that's ridiculous.
Yep.
So I went and I fell in love with it immediately because between my sister and I, my sister's an athlete. She did every sport you could think of, from soccer to basketball. She did flag football. She was in ROTC. She did everything. I stuck to the dance. But I said, well, I want to see if I can, actually lift or be strong. So it started small with just dumbbells and just a lot of cardio. But then I wanted to see, I was like, can I lift a barbell? I was like, is that possible for little old me to do? Because I am the girly girl, the little Miss Princess between the two of me and my sister.
Okay.
And she's that tomboy. So I was like, well, let's see if I can do it. And the minute I was able to do a bench press with the bar, I said, I love this feeling. I felt so strong. I felt capable. I felt confident. And it felt like all of the barriers that I was being put in, I was able to just break out of it. So once I slowly started doing that, it became just a mental clarity. It was a confidence booster. Everything they say about working out is so definitely true when it comes to, you feel so much better walking out. You have more energy in your day. You feel like just 10 times better, not only just physically, but mentally, mind, body, and soul. It was an overachieving feeling. So I started going in the mornings before I went to school. I was consistent with that for about 2 years. And then I went to college to play golf. When I was in college to play golf, we had a personal trainer, so I was always in the gym with him. I took a year. There was like a year that I wasn't fully consistent because I was working to pay for school. And then after Another year I came back in the gym and just fell in love with it all over again. This year though, not even this year, last year is when I really took the step to make sure I was eating right. Because you can work out and still eat the same and you ain't gonna see the results you want to see. And so I had to take that, because I love good food. Who doesn't love good food? But I had to take that realization, like, okay, it's the 80-20, and when it comes to working out to look a certain way, 80% is what you eat. And I knew it, but I was still young. I had fast metabolism. I was like, okay. But then I was like gaining weight and not working out as much. I said, oh, no. I said, we gotta reel that back in real quick. So I started eating right, I want to say after I graduated in 2024, when I came home in January 2025. So I was like, and it wasn't just for myself. It was because my parents are getting older. I wanted to be an example for how they need to eat. They were eating like frozen pizzas every night. I said, y'all, let me just cook. I said, Dad, thank you for membership, please and thank you, and I will make sure y'all have healthy meals.
Wow.
So with that, it was just a partnership, making sure that they're eating right, going to the gym more, being an inspiration for not only for myself but for them, because I want to make sure they're living healthy lives. And at some point, whenever I do leave the house, I was like, I want to make sure y'all have a foundation of at least just eating clean. Y'all don't gotta go to the gym all the time, but at least eating clean. So
that's super admirable, and it's something that I'm trying to push on my dad, especially. No offense, Dad, but he's been a little complacent, not his normal self the past year or so. He did deal with an accident, unfortunately. He hasn't been able to work out the same. But your diet is huge, and if you can set that example, being there with them, oh my goodness, that is amazing. It is so much more than just getting to the gym. I recently tracked my macros. The last 2 years, year and a half, I was in Florida. Everybody looks amazing. We're all diced. It's definitely a different comparison to where I'm at in Wisconsin. So I tracked, but I purposely didn't do any kind of bulk because I was jaded in the past. I bulked once way too hard, 2 pounds per week increase, and I look like a bowling ball. I was 200 pounds, 5'8", not a good look. But I recently calculated my macros 5 years out, and I saw, like you said, who doesn't like to eat good food? I figured out if I can gain an extra 10, 12 pounds, I'd say 10 to 15 pounds of lean muscle mass, I can take my basal metabolic rate from 2,500 calories that I could have to 3,000 in just 4 to 5 years. Who wouldn't want to eat an extra 500 calories every single day the rest of their life? That's going to add up.
Right.
That's why Victoria and I, and a lot of people part of Strength, we're very big on, it's okay to go through seasons of bulking and cutting, and you should just be in the gym in general. You have to be checking what you're eating. That makes all the difference. A cool looking car, not fed, gas is going to run out, right? You need a certain type of fuel. So you joined Strength, 3 months ago?
I want to say 4.
4? Okay. You mentioned to me before the call that Strength with the letter I, the N and the G are switched too, but the letter I to you, that means inner strength to you. So what does that show up like in your daily life now? And also, as a piggyback to this, you said you joined as an athlete, not a creator, which is very important to you. I want to know why.
Ooh, okay. So the first part of the inner strength, being able to, I guess, be self-sufficient is the best word I can describe that as. Being able to, you don't need to rely on yourself for everything. It's good that you can go and get help, but being able to depend on yourself is something that I desperately wanted for a long time. There's a movie called I Can Do Bad All By Myself, and I used to believe that, and at the end of the movie, the girl, she breaks down and she uses help, but I was the complete opposite in a sense. I was always that person that people were able to lean on, that people were able to open up to, and I was always pouring out, not pouring for myself. And so I want to say it was around the time that I came into when I started seeing the advertisements for Strength, I remember thinking and wanting, I was like, I need to pour back into myself. I had the ideas, I said this before in the previous interview we did, I had the plan, I need the platform. And that came down to a lot of different things. When it came down to the confidence within myself, the being, and because my mindset has changed so much within the past 4 months that I've been in this community. And it's strengthened me to be able to have confidence from within, having resilience from within, rain from within, all about what strength embodies and what you guys represent. I was looking for that, but didn't have the words. Because I know for a long time, like I was still playing the part, I was walking around kind of like a puppet, you can say. Like I felt, not even felt, I looked like I had myself together, but I know internally I didn't have it all the way together, the way I wanted to have it together. So with the people who know me, they think they think I got it all going on. I'm walking around like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I'm indecisive with this. It was never a level of security. So me trying to find that inner strength was me trying to find inner security within myself, because it stemmed from all the little other insecurities that I had growing up. So being able to tackle that and take that down, and being able to find a level of internal peace within myself, and it not be temporary, because we can find temporary peace, but I was looking for something permanent. Ooh. And yeah, because you can have, sometimes people are like, oh, I just need to just go out, or I just need to do this and I feel better. But it's a cycle. And I hear with girls all the time, oh, I'm not upset, or I'm not mad, I just need to get my nails done, or I just need to get my hair done. It was just small little things to just temporarily relieve the pain and make you feel all good about yourself, but it always needed to come back. Oh, I just need to do this, I need to do that. I wanted it to be permanent. So that's why strength is so important to me, because when it comes down to rain from within, and I love the title. I love it so much, because that's exactly what I was looking for without even finding the words. It's so true. Like, you have to find that peace. You have to find that rain. You have to find that strength and that resilience from within yourself.
Absolutely.
Before you even think to do it for somebody else, right?
Yes.
And the second part of the question, I'm so sorry.
No, you're killing it. So the joining strength as an athlete, not as a creator. How's that a big difference to you?
Oh, it was a big difference for me, because for one, like I've mentioned to you before in a few of our other conversations, I wanted to find a brand to work with that had actual meaning behind it, and no diss or shade to any other like gym company. There we go. Yep. But there was no fulfilling purpose for me, and I'm very much a person who does everything with intention, and I want to be poured into, because I know I am very much, whatever I do, I try to do it in excellence. You
go all in, yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that whoever I partnered with, I was able to get something poured back into. And at that time, I was struggling with, I was okay with going to the gym. I was still struggling with the discipline of what I eat, the discipline of even just making sure that I was PRing, like I was excelling in the gym. Like, it was small things, because I was going to the gym the whole year before I even came across strength. But it was small things that I was, I've been going to the gym for a minute. I didn't have the confidence to go up and weight. I didn't have the confidence to film content in the gym. I didn't have confidence to just walk around the gym knowing that I'm doing something. Because I'm like, the gym is, especially for women, the gym is a very testosterone-filled area. So I was like, I'm a little intimidated. Not really, but I'm like, I wouldn't go at certain times, because I was like, I don't want to run into too many people. I don't want to have any weird encounterments with men or with anybody. So I just was very, not skeptical, but I was very strategic with what I did in the gym. And it wasn't really fulfilling the reasons why